Hey everybody, it's me again. I'm back at you with another episode of Travel Thoughts. This week, we're going to be talking about the traveler's mindset and how to bring it home. If you stuck around for my last few videos, you'll know that I was sharing a few excerpts from two different books that I read. Today, I'm going to be talking about The Art of Travel by Alain de Botton. So first, I'm going to focus on how we can attain the pleasures of travel without leaving home at all, which I'm sure you'll be very excited about because for a lot of us, international travel hasn't really been in our reach. So again, I'm including some excerpts from The Art of Travel. I think for this topic, he does such an awesome job of graciously describing this. So in this first part, he talks about a special book that an author wrote about how one can travel in their own bedroom. So let me read this for you. But thereafter, de Maistre was maybe accused of losing sight of the overall purpose of his endeavor. He becomes mired in long and wearing digressions about his dog, Rosine, his sweetheart Jenny, and his faithful servant, Joannetti. Prospective travelers in search of specific guidance on room travel risk coming away from reading Journey Around My Bedroom feeling a little betrayed. And yet, de Maistre's work sprang from a profound and suggestive insight, the notion that the pleasure we derive from a journey may be more dependent on the mindset we travel with than on the destination we travel to. If we could only apply a traveling mindset to our own locales, we might find these places becoming no less interesting than, say, the high mountain passes and butterfly-filled jungles of Humboldt's South America. What then is a traveling mindset? Receptivity might be said to be its chief characteristic. Receptive, we approach new places with humility. We carry with us no rigid ideas about what is or what is not interesting. We irritate locals because we stand in traffic islands and narrow streets and admire what they take to be unremarkable small details. We risk getting run over because we are intrigued by the roof of a government building or an inscription on a wall. We find a supermarket of a hairdresser's shop unusually fascinating. We dwell at length on the layout of a menu or the clothes of the presenters on the evening news. We are alive to the layers of history beneath the present and take notes and photographs. Home, by contrast, finds us more settled in our expectations. We feel assured that we have discovered everything interesting about our neighborhood, primarily by virtue of having lived there a long time. It seems inconceivable that there could be anything new to find in a place where we have been living for a decade or more. We have become habituated and therefore blind to it. De Maistre tried to shake us from our passivity. In his second volume of Room Travel, Nocturnal Expedition Around My Bedroom, he went to his window and looked up at the night sky. Its beauty made him feel frustrated that such ordinary scenes were not more generally appreciated. How few people are right now taking delight in this sublime spectacle that the sky lays on uselessly for dozing humanity. What would it cost those who are out for a walk or crowding out the theater to look up for a moment and admire the brilliant constellations that gleam above their heads? The reason people were not looking was that they had never done so before. They had fallen into the habit of considering their universe to be boring, and their universe had dully fallen into line with their expectations. Wow, that's all I really say to that, guys. If this isn't inspiring you to go out in your own neighborhood with hungry eyes, I don't know what will. Honestly, I think this passage really speaks for itself. I feel like I don't have to say much because I feel like it explains it so well, but I still want to highlight a few things, of course. So first, I want to highlight that the pleasure we derive from travel and journeys is more dependent on the mindset that we travel with than the destination we travel to. This is something that I actually write about a lot in my own memoir because I think that our perception and our mindset is a true determiner of all our experiences, travel or not travel related, really. And I argue that we can't remove our unhappiness or run away from problems. That's not really possible. We can be thousands of miles away from something or someone that mentally is draining us, yet they would still drain us from time to time, perhaps with some distraction mixed in here and there, I guess, if you're away in a foreign country. But I speak from experience here. I've definitely been in that situation where I can be on the opposite side of the planet and then in my head, here comes this thing that really makes me feel anxious or sad or angry. But back to our surroundings. If we are perceiving our surroundings as familiar and mundane, then of course they're going to appear that way. We won't take notice to them if we're saying, oh no, that's boring, I'm not even going to bother with that. Well, of course, if we don't even bother with trying to perceive it as something not boring, we're never going to see it as interesting. So what if we put ourselves in a mindset of a foreigner and try and see everything for the first time? Chances are, if you do this, you will notice a few new things that you didn't notice before because you were constantly in this sense that you are seeing everything before. But now, if you are more receptive, then it's almost like you're looking at it with fresh eyes. So I want to conclude this little video with some ideas from another passage. And this is about making a lot of a little bit. Let me just read this for you. 8 decades later, a niece, oh my God, I can't even pronounce this guy's name, who had read and admired de Maistre, had spent much time in his own room, picked up on the thought. When we observe how people know how to manage their experiences, their insignificant everyday experiences, so that they become an arable soil that bears fruit 3 times a year, while others, and how many there are driven through surging waves of destiny, the most multifarious currents of the times and the nations, and yet always remain on top, wobbling like a cork, then we are in the end. We are tempted to divide mankind into a minority, a minimality of those who know how to make much of little, and a majority of those who know how to make little of much. There are some who've crossed deserts, floating on ice caps, and cut their way through jungles, but whose souls we would still search in vain for evidence of what they have witnessed. Dressed in pink and blue pajamas, satisfied with the confines of his own bedroom, Xavier de Maistre was gently nudging us to try, before taking off for distant hemispheres, to notice what we have already seen. I love how he mentions here how we may search in vain for evidence of what they have witnessed. Again, this circles back to our thought about being in the right mindset. You can bring yourself to these wonderful places, sure, but they won't necessarily remove the ugly and the painful emotions or experiences that may be lurking inside of you. Beautiful places are temporary distraction at best. With the right mindset, you can experience much greater things with traveling very fewer miles. I think this brings forward a very interesting exercise, which I think we could all benefit from trying. As I'm reading this, I'm thinking of a few things I want to do in the vicinity of where I live. I encourage everyone out there listening to take on this challenge, or exercise rather. With the traveler's mindset, I think we might be able to soothe a lot of our itchy feet, which is urging us to want to travel internationally. So especially in these COVID times, I think this is a very, very helpful practice for us all. With all that said and done, that is all I want to chat about today. I hope you enjoyed this discussion. I thought it's really interesting to talk about our mindset, and it's something that I'll definitely talk about in the future because it's something I write about. But if you liked it, let me know, give me that thumbs up, and subscribe so that you don't miss out on the next episode. We are still going to be continuing this little discussion about the traveler's mindset. And of course, if you have anything to add, please comment, let me know. I love to discuss this more. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you all sticking it out with me, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye.